I, Nathuram Godse, the first accused above named, respectfully beg to state as under. Number 1. Before I make my submission as regards the various charges, I respectfully submit that the charges as framed are not according to law, inasmuch as there is a misjoinder of charges, and there ought to have been 2 separate trials, one relating to the incident of the 20th of January 1948 and the other relating to the incident of the 30th of January 1948. The 2 having been mixed up together, the whole trial is vitiated. Number 2. Without prejudice to my above submission, I make my submission in respect of the various charges as framed as stated hereafter. Number 3. In the charge sheet preferred against the accused, a number of counts has been stated, and each of the accused individually and jointly with others has been charged with the commission of the various offences punishable under the Indian Penal Code and other statutes. It appears from the charge sheet that the prosecution takes the events that have happened on 20th January 1948 and thereafter on 30th January 1948 as one and the same, or a chain of events in continuation of one and the same object culminating in the murder of Gandhiji. I therefore wish to make it clear at the outset that the events up to 20th January 1948 are quite independent, and they have no connection whatsoever with what happened thereafter and on 30th January 1948. The first and the foremost amongst the said charges is the charge of conspiracy amongst the accused to murder Gandhiji. I shall therefore first deal with the same. I say that there was no conspiracy of any kind whatsoever amongst the accused to commit any of the offences mentioned in the charge sheet. I may also state here that I have not abetted any of the other accused in the commission of the alleged offences. I say that the evidence led by the prosecution in this regard does not establish and prove that there was any conspiracy whatsoever. The only witness who deposes about the alleged conspiracy is Digambar R. Badge, prosecution witness 57. He is a totally unreliable witness, as will be shown to your honor by my counsel when he will explain the evidence in the case and deal with the evidence of this witness. P.W. 57. As regards the charge of collecting and transporting arms and ammunition without license and abetment thereof on 20th January 1948, I say that I deny the said charge and say that I neither carried or transported gun cotton slabs, hand grenades, detonators, wicks, pistols or revolvers and cartridges etc. as alleged, nor did I have under my control any of such arms and or ammunition, nor did I abet and aid any of the accused to do so either before or on or about the 20th January 1948 or any other date. I deny therefore that I contravened any of the provisions of the Indian Arms Act or the Indian Explosives Substances Act, and that I committed any offence punishable under the said acts. The main evidence in regard to this charge is the evidence of Digambar R. Badge, PW 57, but as stated in paragraph 6 above, he is a totally unreliable witness. This witness, Badge, PW 57, is known to me, but he hardly used to come to me, nor have I ever visited his place of residence since several years past. His statement that he came to the Hindu Rashtra office on 10th January 1948, being brought here by Apte, the accused number 2, is totally false, and I deny that the said Badge saw me at the Hindu Rashtra office or any other place on that day, or that in my presence Apte and he had any talk amongst themselves about gun cotton slabs, hand grenades, etc., and about the delivery thereof at Bombay as falsely alleged by the said Badge. His statement that Apte asked me to come out of the room and that Apte told me to hand over the hand grenades, etc., and that one work was over is totally false. This is a story got up by Badge to implicate me and others into the alleged conspiracy. I further say that I neither saw nor met Badge on 14th January 1948 at Dadar, either alone or in the company of Apte. I did not even know that Badge had come to Bombay on that day. I further deny that I had in my possession or under my control while at Delhi or abetted anyone to have and possess on 20th January 1948 any arms or ammunition as stated in the charge sheet under the heading secondly paragraphs B, 1 and 2. Here also, the evidence to support this charge is of Badge alone, and I say that he has given false evidence to save his own skin, for on that occasion alone he could secure the pardon promised and granted to him. As regards the charge under the heading thirdly, I say that I deny the said charge and the abetment thereof as stated in several paragraphs A, 1 and 2 and B, 1 and 2. As regards the charge under the heading fourthly, paragraph 2, I deny that I abetted Madan Lal Ke Pahwa either myself alone or along with others to explode a gun cotton slab on 20th January 1948 at Birla House. I say that there is no evidence to substantiate this charge, and whatever little evidence there may be can hardly connect me with the explosion of the gun cotton slab. As regards the charge of abetment in the attempt to commit the murder of Mahatma Gandhi under the heading fifthly in the charge, I deny the said charge, and I say I had no connection either directly or indirectly with Madan Lal Ke Pahwa or any other person whatsoever. I say there is no evidence whatsoever to support this charge. As regards the charge under the heading sixthly in the charge sheet as to paragraphs A, 1 and 2 thereof, I say that I have not imported or brought unlicensed pistol and ammunition with the assistance of Narayan D. Apte. I also deny that Dr. Dattatreya S. Parchure and Narayan D. Apte procured the said pistol or any one of them individually or jointly, abetted me or themselves each other in such procuration of the said pistol and the ammunition. I further say that the evidence produced by prosecution in that behalf is not reliable. Without prejudice to above, I further say that even if the acts mentioned in these paragraphs A1 and 2 may have been committed, this honorable court has no jurisdiction to take any notice of them. I further say that so far as I am concerned, the charge, if any, would merge under the charge in paragraph B1 under this head. As regards the charge under paragraph B1 and 2, I admit that I had in my possession automatic pistol number 606824 and cartridges. But I say that neither Narayan D. Apte nor Vishnu R. Karkare had anything to do with the pistol in my possession. But before I pass to the charge under the heading seventhly, it will not be out of place to explain here how I happened to come to Delhi and why I came to Delhi. I have never made a secret about the fact that I supported the ideology or the school which was opposed to that of Gandhiji. I firmly believed that the teachings of absolute ahimsa as advocated by Gandhiji would ultimately result in the emasculation of the Hindu community and thus make the community incapable of resisting the aggression or inroads of other communities, especially the Muslims. To counteract this evil, I resolved to enter public life and formed a group of persons who held like views. In this, Apte and myself took a leading part, and as a part of propaganda started a daily newspaper, Agrani. I might mention here that it was not so much the Gandhian Ahimsa teachings that were opposed to by me and my group, but Gandhiji, while advocating his views, always showed or evinced a bias for Muslims, prejudicial and detrimental to the Hindu community and its interests. I have fully described my point of view hereafter in detail and have quoted numerous instances which unmistakably establish how Gandhiji became responsible for a number of calamities which the Hindu community had to suffer and undergo. In my paper, Agrani or Hindu Rashtra, I always strongly criticized Gandhiji's views and his methods such as fast for achieving his object. And after Gandhiji started holding prayer meetings, we, Apte and myself, decided to stage peaceful demonstrations showing opposition. We had made such demonstrations at Panchgani, Pune, Bombay and Delhi. There was a wide gulf between the two ideologies, and it became wider and wider as concessions after concessions were being made to the Muslims, either at the suggestion or connivance of Gandhiji and the Congress, which was guided by Gandhiji, culminating in the partition of the country on 15th of August 1947. I have dealt with this point in detail hereafter. On 13th of January 1948, I learned that Gandhiji had decided to go on fast unto death. The reason given for such fast was that he wanted an assurance from Hindu-Muslim unity in Indian dominion. But I and many others could easily see that the real motive behind the fast was not merely the so-called Hindu-Muslim unity, but to compel the Dominion government to pay the sum of rupees 55 crores to Pakistan, the payment of which was emphatically refused by the government. As an answer to this, Apte suggested the same old method to stage a strong but peaceful demonstration at the prayer meetings of Gandhiji. I consented to this half-heartedly because I could easily see its futility. However, I agreed to join him as no alternative plan was as yet fixed in my mind. It was for this reason that N.D. Apte and myself went to Bombay on the 14th of January 1848. On the 15th of January 1948, we, Apte and myself, happened to go to the Hindu Sabha office at Dadar in the morning. I happened to see Badge there. On seeing N.D. Apte and myself, Badge talked to N.D. Apte and asked him the reason of his coming to Bombay. Apte told him the reason. Badge thereupon, of his own accord, offered to come to Delhi and join in the demonstration if we had no objection to his coming there. We wanted men to back us and to shout slogans, and we therefore accepted his offer. We told him as to when we were starting. Badge thereupon told Apte that he had to give some stuff to Praveen Chandra Sethia, that he would do so in a day or two and see us on the 17th January 1948. After we met Badge on the 15th of January 1948 in the Hindu Sabha office at Dadar, I saw Badge on the 17th of January 1948 in the morning. The statements made by Badge about our going to Dikshitji Maharaj, along with him and seeing Dikshitji Maharaj, about Apte having told Badge that Savarkar had entrusted Apte and myself the task of finishing Gandhiji, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Surhavardi is a pure concoction and product of Badge's brain. Neither Apte nor I have ever said anything like this to Badge or any other person. I deny categorically what the prosecution has so falsely maintained, that I was guided in my action by Veer Savarkar, and that, but for his complicity, I could never have acted in the way I have done. I take the strongest exception to this untrue and unjust charge, and I further regard it as an insult to my intelligence and judgment. The prosecution's attempt to make out that I was a mere tool in someone else's hands is an aspersion which is far from the truth. Indeed, it is a perversion of it. Badge's statements to the effect that I also wanted to go to Pune to meet my brother Gopal Godse, who had undertaken to make arrangements for procuring a revolver and to bring him down to Bombay for accompanying us to Delhi, is also untrue. I had no talk with Badge when I met him on the 15th January 1948, except what is stated in paragraph 17 above. Further, the statement of Badge that he met me on 16th January 1948 at Pune is also false. The alleged report of my conversation with him at Pune, as deposed to by Badge in his evidence, is also false and untrue. I was not in Pune on the 16th January 1948. It will be clear from this that it is not true that I gave him any pistol on that day for being exchanged for a big revolver. I have already stated that we, Apte and myself, had planned to stage a strong but peaceful demonstration at Gandhiji's prayer meeting at the earliest possible opportunity at Delhi, and for that purpose, Apte and myself were to go there. As stated in paragraph 17, Badge offered to come to Delhi to take part in the demonstration referred to above. We felt an urgent need for taking some volunteers with us for a successful demonstration. Before we started for Delhi, we started collecting money to meet the expenses for the journey and for the expenses of the volunteers. I emphatically deny that we saw Savarkar on the 17th January